Welcome to the deep dive.
Mm.
I want you, the listener, to pause whatever you're doing right now and just ask yourself a question.
Oh boy.
Yeah, ready? If someone could see your soul in this exact moment, what would it be wearing?
Wow. That is that's heavy right out of the gate.
Right, but seriously, think about the sheer amount of time we spend curating our physical lives. I mean, we pick out the right jacket for a crucial meeting. We meticulously filter our photos online.
Oh, totally. All the lighting and angles.
Exactly. We practice what we're going to say so we project confidence. But if you stripped all of that physical and social curation away, and your inner self-light, your absolute unfiltered core was suddenly visible to everyone around you, well, what does that outfit actually look like?
It's a profoundly uncomfortable thought experiment, honestly.
Is it frayed around the edges? Is it, stained from the stress and compromises of the last week? Or is it brilliant and pristine?
Yeah, I mean, we navigate our entire society relying heavily on the invisibility of our inner lives.
We really do.
The assumption that no one can actually see the little compromises we make internally, well, that's what allows most of us to sleep at night.
And in that exact, deeply uncomfortable concept is the engine behind our deep dive today. We are exploring a single, uncompromising piece of writing from January 2022.
Right, by an author named Xue Feng.
Yes, Swifeng. The manuscript is titled Adorn Your Soul with a Holy Robe. And our mission today is to unpack this intense blueprint for maintaining inner purity in a world that is, frankly, constantly trying to drag you into the mud.
It really is a genuinely unique document to analyze. It doesn't function like typical modern self-help.
Not at all.
You know, modern self-help usually offers gentle suggestions for, like, feeling better about yourself. This is different.
It's super rigid.
Yeah, it blends high-level philosophical maxims with extremely radical, rigid behavioral mandates. It doesn't just tell you to be a good person in some abstract way.
Right.
It provides a highly specific, almost mechanical system for how to operate in society so that your inner self remains completely untainted.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we even get to these rigid rules of behavior, we really need to understand the underlying logic.
The foundation.
Yeah. The author establishes this beautiful, almost mathematical progression of how value and beauty actually work in the universe. So how do we get from the beauty of the world to this idea of a holy robe?
Right. So the foundation of this philosophy relies on a very clear chain of manifestation. It begins by looking at the macro level.
The big picture.
Exactly. Stating that the beauty of the world is revealed through the myriad things, the sheer diversity of nature, the mountains, the oceans, the ecosystems.
Okay, so that's the macro.
Then it narrows the focus down to individual objects. Like, how do we know the value of a specific item? Its value is proven exclusively through its function and purpose.
Which makes sense. A beautiful glass is utterly worthless if it has a hole in it and can't hold water.
Right. The utility defines the value. And then, and this is the leap, the progression zooms in directly on humanity.
And here's where it throws a massive curveball to how we usually think.
Oh, a huge curveball.
It argues that the inner beauty of a person is reflected entirely in their words and actions. Not what you feel, not your hidden intentions, just what you do and say.
That distinction is the linchpin of the entire manuscript. I mean, think about it. We love to judge ourselves by our internal intentions while judging others by their actions.
Oh, all the time. Well, I meant to be kind.
Exactly. I didn't intend to cause harm. Right. In this framework, your secret intentions are entirely irrelevant. The beauty of the soul is manifested exclusively through, as the author puts it, the light and colors it presents to the world.
Which brings us to the title. To project the right light and colors, Schiffing argues we have to consciously clothe our souls in a sacred garment.
A very specific kind of garment.
Right. The exact description is that this garment must be radiant and translucent. Now, when I first read Sacred Garment, my brain immediately went to something flowing and delicate, like woven silk.
Sure, that's the classic imagery.
But based on the intense rules that follow, I realized that's the wrong image entirely. Instead of flowing silk, think of it more like an energy shield from a sci-fi movie.
I love that analogy, an energy shield.
Yeah, it's a radiant, glowing force field made entirely out of your daily choices. It's completely translucent, so your true nature shines through, but it is utterly impenetrable to the toxic sludge of the outside world.
That's exactly how it functions in the text.
So how exactly are we supposed to power up this force field? What are the actual mechanics here?
Well, the mechanics are entirely behavioral. You are generating this shield through strict moral boundaries. And the very first set of actions required to weave this radiant garment are entirely defensive in nature.
That makes perfect sense for a force field. Because if this garment is built by our choices, the ultimate test of those choices happens when the world is actively attacking us.
Which it always is.
So how does this philosophy say we handle external chaos?
The author lays out 3 specific defensive mechanisms. First, regardless of how dirty or corrupt the surrounding environment may be, you must maintain absolute cleanliness.
Okay, cleanliness. What's the second?
Second, no matter how frenetic or chaotic the world becomes, you must remain perfectly calm and grounded.
That's easier said than done.
Definitely. And third, you must never praise power, never admire status, and never grovel before money.
Let's focus on that last point for a second, because power and money exert a massive gravitational pull on human behavior. We constantly alter our trajectories to orbit around whoever signs our paychecks, or whoever holds societal influence.
Exactly. The world gets frantic, so we lose our temper. The environment demands a moral compromise to get a promotion, so we bend our ethics.
It's the path of least resistance.
Right. The philosophy here recognizes that the default state of society is to erode your purity. The demand is that your radiant force field must remain completely impervious to these environmental factors.
But I really need to push back on this, because reading it, it feels almost impossibly rigid for a normal human being.
It is extremely rigid.
Right. It's very easy to sit in a quiet room and philosophize about never groveling before money. It's easy when you aren't staring down a stack of past due medical bills.
That's the reality for most people, yeah.
But the author actually acknowledges that sometimes, quote, evil forces push you to a dead end. Is it really expected that someone never bows down in submission, even then? Like, what if your actual physical survival is on the line?
You're hitting on the exact friction point that separates this text from, casual philosophy.
Yeah.
Yes, it expects you to never bow down.
Wow. Even at a dead end.
It demands radical, uncompromising resilience. The author insists that even if literally no one appreciates your pure soul, even if society actively punishes you for it, you cannot descend to the level of falsehood, evil, and ugliness.
Because if you do descend to that level, the energy shield collapses.
Precisely. If you compromise your soul to save your physical comfort, or even your physical life, you have fundamentally misunderstood what is actually valuable.
That is wild.
The garment is worthless if you power it down the moment survival becomes difficult. The purity of your soul isn't a luxury item you wear when the economy is good and everyone is getting along. It is the core, eternal objective of your existence.
That is unbelievably heavy. It completely flips the modern hierarchy of needs. We usually put physical survival at the base of the pyramid, right? And spiritual self-actualization at the very top.
Yeah, Maslow's hierarchy.
Exactly. This text is saying, no, the integrity of the soul is the foundation. And if you have to sacrifice the physical to maintain it, so be it.
That's the exact paradigm shift.
So defending against the pressure of survival is the defensive side. But we don't live in isolation. We have to interact with the society. How does this radiant shield hold up the second you have to collaborate with someone else?
This is where we shift from defense to offense, the proactive rules for personal integrity. And I have to warn you, they are just as uncompromising.
Bring it on.
The mandate is that you must never bully the honest and you must never deceive the weak. But it goes further. It explicitly states you shouldn't even lose your temper with them.
Not even losing your temper. Have you ever tried dealing with a bureaucratic nightmare at a bank? Or being on hold with an airline for 3 hours?
I have, and I've definitely lost my temper. But the mechanism at play here is that anger directed at the vulnerable is a failure of your own internal order.
So the shield glitches when you yell at customer service.
Basically, yeah. If you act secretively, or if you use sneakiness to get an advantage, you are actively introducing darkness into a shield that is supposed to be translucent.
It's all about keeping it clear.
Yes, it also demands absolute financial purity. You can never engage in giving or accepting bribes, and you cannot covet even a single penny of ill-gotten gains. You must rely solely on your own efforts.
And it also says we must refuse any excess. Which is fascinating because modern culture is entirely built on the pursuit of excess. Upgrading the car, sizing up the house. Why does simply having too much damage the soul in this framework?
Because excess implies greed. And greed requires you to extract more from the world than you actually need.
Right.
That extraction process inherently harms others, and it clouds the light you are trying to project.
That makes sense. But while the financial rules are strict, The communication rules are where I think listeners will likely feel the most friction in their daily lives.
Oh, without a doubt.
The communication rules blew my mind. The directive is, and I quote, either speak the truth or remain silent. Always tell the truth. Now, I have to challenge this.
I figured you might.
We all agree perjury is bad. But what about the classic white lie? What if a friend asks if you like their new, objectively terrible haircut? Is Huifeng really saying that being brutally honest and hurting someone's feelings is spiritually superior to a polite fiction?
Yes. Under this framework, there is no such thing as a polite fiction.
None at all.
None. A lie is a distortion of reality. When you tell a white lie, you are actively choosing to project a falsehood into the world to avoid personal discomfort or social awkwardness. Sincerity is the very material of your sacred garment. Every time you introduce a falsehood, you are introducing an opaque stain into a translucent shield.
So social lubrication is essentially spiritual pollution.
That is exactly how this philosophy views it. And this uncompromising view of reality brings us to the rules regarding promises, which are arguably the most intense in the entire manuscript.
Let's talk about the promises, because the text explicitly says once you make a promise, even if it costs you your life, fulfill it.
It's a stunning escalation of stakes.
Right. Think about how the average person treats a promise today. Most of us treat a promise as a general intention. If I say, I promise I'll review that document by Friday, it usually translates to, I fully intend to look at it by Friday, assuming I don't get swamped with other emails and my kid doesn't get sick.
Right, it's highly conditional.
But this text treats a promise as the ultimate binding contract with the universe.
We have to understand the underlying mechanism of why a promise matters so much here. A promise is you using your words to guarantee a future action.
Okay, words guaranteeing action.
Right. And if your inner beauty is entirely dependent on your words and actions, then a promise is the ultimate test of whether those two things align.
Oh, I see.
When dealing with others, the text says you must act sincerely and genuinely, or you shouldn't interact with them at all. There is no middle ground for casual flakiness.
So breaking a lunch date or failing to email a document you promised isn't just a scheduling error. It isn't just a minor social faux pas.
No, it is a localized failure of your integrity. Every time you fulfill a difficult promise, you weave a brilliant thread of light into your garment.
And when you flake,
Every time you flake or judge someone without facts or act superficially, you actively unravel the sanctity of your own soul. The nobility of your spirit isn't built in silent, isolated meditation. It is constructed through these gritty, everyday interpersonal transactions.
you are constantly weaving this garment minute by minute, email by email, interaction by interaction. And it's all very lofty, dealing with profound moral concepts. But then, and this is perhaps the most surprising pivot in the entire deep dive today, the manuscript takes a sudden, highly specific turn directly into the physical, mundane world.
It really is a jarring transition for anyone used to Western philosophy.
We usually separate the mind and the body.
Exactly. But after demanding that you must be willing to sacrifice your life for a promise, the text abruptly shifts to your physical environment. It mandates maintaining the absolute cleanliness and tidiness of yourself and your home.
Right. But it doesn't stop at just telling you to make your bed and sweep the floor. It goes a step further into actual agriculture.
It does.
It says, grow vegetables, fruits, and grains untainted. Produce food without toxins. Now, hold on. We just leaped from be willing to die for absolute truth to start a toxin-free vegetable garden.
It's quite a leap. How does using organic fertilizer fit into a philosophical manifesto about the eternal soul? Well, it fits because, to the author, there is absolutely no boundary line between the inner spiritual life and the outer physical reality.
We modern people love to compartmentalize, though.
We do. We think we can live in a chaotic, messy physical space, consume highly processed, chemically treated food, and still maintain a pure, intellectual, and spiritual inner life. This text argues that such a division is a complete illusion.
Okay, let's dig into the mechanism of that. Why does a chemical pesticide on a tomato matter to my soul's energy shield?
Because introducing a toxin into the earth requires a choice. It requires you to prioritize convenience, artificial yield, or financial profit over natural harmony and purity.
Ah, it's the choice that matters.
Exactly. That choice, that prioritization of the artificial over the pure, is the exact moment the fabric of your soul's garment tears. Furthermore, your external environment is a literal mirror of your internal state. A radiant, translucent soul cannot conceptually reside in a trashed, chaotic room.
So a messy bedroom isn't just a sign that you're busy. It's an outward manifestation of an internal spiritual clutter.
Precisely. And a pure soul cannot be sustained by poisoned food. The tidiness of your home and the chemical purity of the food you consume are physical extensions of your spiritual hygiene.
This is so intense.
If you are willing to introduce toxins into the soil or into your own body, you are demonstrating a fundamental lack of respect for the purity that the universe demands.
That completely recontextualizes how we interact with the physical world. The energy shield isn't just protecting you from bad vibes or mean people. It's a holistic, unified theory of living. You are what you eat, you are where you sleep, and you are the promises you keep. It's all one continuous fabric.
The spiritual must manifest in the physical, and the physical must continually reflect the spiritual. You cannot cheat the system by being pure in one realm and toxic in the other.
Okay, so let's follow this through to its logical ultimate conclusion. Let's say you, the listener, actually follow all of these mandates.
Let's assume you manage it.
Right. You grow the pure food, you keep your promises even when it hurts, you refuse to lie, and you refuse to bow to power even when you were backed into a corner. What is the ultimate payoff for building this perfect, radiant force field? What happens when the garment is complete?
This leads us directly to the text's striking finale.
The grand finale.
Yes, the manuscript prophesies a specific, momentous cosmic event. It speaks of a time when light pierces through darkness and illuminates the earth.
Sounds cinematic.
Very. And in that singular moment of ultimate illumination, the author states that all will be revealed in their true forms.
I absolutely love the imagery here. And what stands out is the fascinating mashup of cultural touchstones. To describe this moment of revelation, the text literally quotes the Christian Bible saying, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." And it places that quote right alongside incredibly vivid Eastern spiritual imagery.
That combination is very deliberate. It universalizes the message. The great cosmic sorting that the text describes isn't bound by one specific religious tradition or dogma.
It's bigger than that.
Right. It is presented as a fundamental, inescapable law of the universe. When the light finally shines, all the illusions of status, corporate power, and wealth, all the things you were supposed to ignore and refuse to grovel before, instantly evaporate.
They just vanish.
And everything simply returns to its rightful, natural place based on its true nature.
The text describes it so vividly. It says, "Cattle will return to the pen, pigs to the sty, celestials to the celestial world, Buddhas to their pure land." If we translate that to modern anxieties, this sounds like the ultimate answer to imposter syndrome.
How do you mean?
Well, so many of us walk around terrified of being found out, terrified that the curated image we present on social media or at work will be exposed as a fraud.
Oh, that is a brilliant way to look at it. In the framework of this great sorting, you will be found out. There is no PR team, no spin, and no hiding behind your wealth or your job title. We finally understand the ultimate purpose of the sacred garment. It isn't just about feeling ethically superior in the present moment. The garment is literally your uniform for this great sorting.
So when the light pierces the darkness, you don't get to hand in a resume of your good intentions. You don't get to say, well, I meant to be a celestial.
No, you simply stand there in the garment you have woven for yourself through your physical actions. Every time you told the truth, every time you remained calm, every time you refused a bribe or grew untainted food, you were actively determining your true form.
And if you didn't?
If you spent your life weaving a garment of falsehoods, white lies, and groveling to authority, you will be sorted accordingly like cattle to the pen. But if you maintain the nobility, sanctity, and elegance of your soul, if you successfully built that radiant, translucent robe through gritty, daily integrity, you belong in the pure land.
The actions you took determine exactly where you belong when the darkness finally lifts.
Exactly.
It's a terrifying and deeply liberating concept all at once. It completely strips away any excuses we might have for our behavior. So to bring this massive journey together for you, the listener, we've just taken a deep dive into how a single, intense manuscript by Sue Feng challenges every single aspect of how we operate as human beings.
It leaves no stone unturned.
It really doesn't. It demands that we build a radiant soul, not through silent, comfortable meditation, but through everyday, high-stakes actions. from refusing to grovel for a paycheck, to speaking absolutely nothing but the unvarnished truth, to fulfilling promises even if it destroys us, to literally cleaning our physical rooms and making sure the food we consume is free of toxins.
It is a profound reminder that true integrity is not an abstract concept to debate. It is a rigorous daily physical practice. It is the active, constant resistance against a world that relies on you compromising your values.
And it all loops back to that initial image we started with, the wardrobe of your inner self. We've talked a lot today about how our physical actions in the real world weave that garment. But I want to leave you with a final, slightly different thought to mull over. Something that takes this philosophy into a realm the author didn't explicitly mention, but that entirely dominates our modern lives.
And what realm is that?
The digital world. If our physical face-to-face choices weave our soul's garment, what happens when we exist purely as pixels and text?
Oh, that's an incredible question.
Think about your digital life. In an age of anonymous avatars, fake screen names, and the distance of a keyboard, the rules of physical interaction kind of disappear. So ask yourself, does a cruel, sarcastic comment left on a stranger's post under a fake profile stain your radiant garment just as permanently as a lie told straight to someone's face?
According to this text, it absolutely would.
If the universe only judges the actions you take and the words you produce, what exactly is your digital footprint weaving for your eternal soul?